Hey guys, we're here with Shaun Shubert, who is currently 5-2. Shaun, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Iggy. How are you?
I am doing great. How was your last fight?
Oh, Iggy, hard hitting question right off the bat. I like your style. My last fight went horribly. Thank you for asking. I just fought on Saturday night up in Barry, Vermont, and suffered a unfortunate knockout in the second round. My opponent Keegan Hornstra caught me walking into uppercuts. So congratulations to him. Uh, Bad couple days for me, but physically, I'm doing well. Mentally, I had a lot of heart to hearts with some of the close people in my life, and some other acquaintances and even strangers reached out to me. And actually, a real heavy hitter was Morgan Donahue, who went to college with my brother, and he and I only have met and hung out a handful of times, but he just hit me with a little bit of reality blast from the past, kind of always remember where you came from type of thing, and something that resonated with him in his life, and the fact that he's still kind of like around and following my career, and the fact that he reached out and had a lot to say to me really hit home, and really put things into perspective for me.
How do you feel about Muay Thai fights with small gloves?
I love it. I think that it's a good rule set to be able to display striking with. I think that the small glove or no glove aspect to it definitely has a bit of a primal kind of purity to it. So um, I definitely dig that that's kind of like very raw and gets like very to the root of combat itself.
Prior to this fight, what was different about it compared to your other fights?
Uh, I'd say a lot of my time management was a struggle for me. Becoming a father recently was something that I was trying to avoid using it as something as an
Mhm.
excuse or a crutch to say, oh, I'm busier because I'm a father. But in actuality, uh, it has less to do with being busy and more to do with wanting to be around your child and be around your family, and be supportive to your partner and help out around the house and help out with your kid, and be an influence in that child's life. So um, it kind of was like something that I never understood as a somebody that was a single person, and somebody that never had a child before, and people would always say, oh, you're busy, I'm busy, the kids and this and that. And actuality is that the time that you have in the free time, it stays the same, but what you want to do with it changes, and your priorities change,
Mhm.
and you have to really dedicate time for that. But you also have to schedule it and organize it properly if fighting is important to you, if this kind of sport is important to you, if being a high level athlete is important to you. That was definitely something that was a huge slap to my face and a big realization after this fight, especially because we all know that you learn more in your losses than you do coming from the top, or being on a win streak, or having very little disruption in your regular activities, right? So if this went smooth and everything went well, then no light would be shed on any of the hiccups or any of the kind of spots that could have improved.
It's very important because finding that balance prior to having a child, and now not only the balance, but the mental concentration, that mindset to stay focused. Because before it was just you who you had to worry about. It wasn't
Yeah, there
anybody
was no
else.
balance before.
There was
There was no balance. There was no need for balance before. That was one of the big things that I realized afterwards was having some of these kind of recaps and post-fight talks with my team, with my coach, with some of my closer people. And so what's the difference? What's the change? Right? What's the thing that's disrupting your mindset? Right? Where's the hiccup? And that is definitely a big part of something that was different, right? Where normally, if I had free time, I'm making phone calls or making moves or making drives to go get training or to stay late or to do extra work. Where now, if I have free time, I want to go see my son. I want to go spend the nights that I could have taken off with my family when normally I want to stay here and train or, hang out with uh, other fighters and learn things and get, pick their brains and gain skill, right? Um, that was something that was definitely different this time around where I was using that free time to go home and to alleviate some of the stress and burden from my fiance and to help with some of the parenting duties and to pull my weight as a father and so forth. And if you want to do this, like I said, you have to be fully dedicated and you have to make those times and you have to kind of come to some kind of agreements with your spouse or with whomever that, like, hey, listen, I'm going to need 6 or 8 weeks to kind of like be somewhere else, right? I'm going to need, or, because if that's not happening, then, you're lacking or you're kind of training less than you could, which is subconsciously even something that's going to affect you.
moving forward, how are you going to adjust your training camp preparing you for your next fight?
Well, I think that picking and choosing my fights a little bit more carefully than I have in the past, uh, coming down in weight a little bit, I think is going to be good for me. I think that as an amateur, being reckless with your weight and who you're fighting is definitely something that you can do. You're gaining experience, you're figuring out how to cut weight, you're doing this, that, the third thing. When you're fighting at a higher level, the people that you're fighting are cutting weight at a high level. They're getting in shape at a high level. So somebody that's a high level professional at 155 is really a proficient, strong, capable individual. And to be somebody that sits on a frame that could probably be more in the 145, 147 weight category is just uh, something that as I'm getting older and getting more into a professional career and starting to fight on more high level promotions and fight more high level people, that's definitely something that I looked at in this last fight.
That's great because so many people, when they take a loss, they either learn from it or they're mentally not able to move forward. So they just kind of like accept it and they don't do what they need to do to move forward and learn from it. And then they just stay there accepting, like, I'm just going to go into this fight and I'm just going to lose. And you know what I mean? And then that just becomes a way that people look at them like, oh, this person doesn't want to move forward.
Yeah, I'll tell you that I'm very grateful and I'm extremely lucky to be surrounded by the team, the support system, the community that I've built and that the people that have gravitated towards me and uh, the gym here and fans and family and people that, like I said, I clearly have made impacts on that was unbeknownst to me, that have reached out to me, that really pulled me out of some kind of like darker place. Like, you know, when you're cruising and everything's good and you're winning fights and everyone's like, "Hey, you're the man. Hey, you're a tough guy. Hey, this is awesome. You know, you're bleeding all over the place, knocking people out. You're so cool." Blah blah. You know, you feel great. And coming from those very high places to get knocked out and to lose a prestigious title and to have to humbly go back to the drawing board, it definitely puts a lot back into perspective and it makes you really check yourself. And for sure, I could have stayed in those bad feelings if it were up to me being left alone. And it was really important for me to talk to people, but they reached out to me. So I was grateful to have that happen, because probably I would have kept to myself if it were, you know,
Hmm.
in my own control, right? I probably would have kind of collapsed into some solitude and really just like went to war with my thoughts and thought about what I was going through and really just struggled and tossed it back and forth in my head. But talking to the people that I talked to, um, and getting the messages that I got from, like I said, friends and loved ones and close people in my life, all the way to uh, people that I hardly see or hardly talk
Hmm.
to, or that I've only hung out and met a few times. That was very powerful for me. And it really kind of like put the gas in the thought process and the ability to kind of like sift through all my thoughts. So I'm really grateful for that. But it was also something that was, like I said, very powerful and put me in a place where probably today you and me would be having a real different conversation
Hmm.
if we would be talking at all. You know, when you sent me that message last night about like, hey, how about Monday? You know,
Hmm.
because we had been talking previous to the fight about setting something up to do this, and timing wise, you know, could have easily been,
Hmm.
hey, you know, tomorrow's a bad day for me. Let's reschedule for something later down the line. You know, you could have caught me on a high. Um, but really, like I said, I had some stuff to say,
Hmm.
and this is it, because a lot of people only are going to post good stuff. They're only going to show on social media what their highlights are. Um, the real stuff is that everybody has ups and downs.
Hmm.
Everybody goes through turmoils. Everybody, you know, has good days and bad days, and even athletes win and lose. Unfortunately, in fighting, there's no second place, right? So you just go out there, you do your thing. If you're winning, that feels great. And when you're not, like you feel like pretty low. And it's just something that I was lucky enough to have all these people in this community reach out to me, whether it was, like I said, friends, family, fighters,
Hmm.
random people, acquaintances, strangers. So that was pretty important for me to hear, to be able to put my thoughts into real perspective, and to be put under a little bit of pressure, and to be asked, what do I really want to do? What do I
Hmm.
really think? How do I really feel about it? How do I really want to move forward with this? And that really, like I said, instead of me just sitting and thinking about things and dwelling on the bad stuff, I was really kind of put to having to answer a lot of questions and pressure from having these conversations, having to answer people, and that made me have to think about what I really thought, what I really felt, and not just kind of like say things just because they're good one liners or good things to
Hmm.
say, or just kind of in passing saying stuff to people.
How do you know the difference between good and bad pressure? Because unfortunately, when a person loses, many people just attack them, and they don't really help. And not everybody has the same mindset. Not everybody is able to take all of the criticism and take it as constructive criticism. How are you able to know or be strong enough to take what's good and just let go of the bad?
I think that recognizing the bad stuff is for sure an important piece to the overcoming part of the whole structure.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that more people were encouraging than uh, criticizing.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say that I was probably my hardest critic and probably still am my hardest critic,
Mm-hmm.
which is something that drives me when a lot of people have self-talk and self-doubt. It's unmotivating to them, and it's something that motivates me when I look at myself and I know that I can improve and I know I can do better. Then it drives me a little bit more. I feel like being where I was and coming off of a couple of good wins and having a nice little uh, professional start to my career, where even though um, it had its blemishes, but they were good fights. They were
Mm-hmm.
solid fights, and this one kind of was like I got caught, right? And even though one of the other ones went 2 rounds, it was because of really bad lacerations. I ended up with almost 50 stitches in my face. It was a kind of a cool story to tell, and good photos and good videos. And the fight was back and forth and really kind of a exciting thing for 2 rounds, where this one was, in my opinion, my performance was a little bit lackluster. It was a little bit of a slow start for me. And then I got kind of caught early in the second round, and it was less of a show for people. It was way less of an entertaining fight. It's way less of a good story where, I got nothing to show for it. People are like, hey, fight must have gone well. You look fine. Like, oh, no, my chin hurts and I got slept real fast in the second round. The only upside is that I don't have stitches in my face, and, it happened so fast I can't remember. So, you know, um,
You had a fight coming up. Is that still happening, or?
No, everything for me has been postponed just to kind of make sure that my health's in order. Even though physically I'm fine, nobody can really tell with the whole brain thing. So we're just going to kind of pump the brakes. When I have some downtime, I like to kind of, stay busy. It's hard for me to sit still. But I've been putting a lot of focus into growing my business. I've been putting a lot of time and energy into this new coaching methodology that I've been sharing. I've been doing some seminars, blasting some of this information out, working on doing a little video series and maybe moving that kind of thing forward, and really putting a lot of thought into where I'm going to be going after the fighting is over as well, because I did know that I'm getting older. I did know that eventually, this is a young man's game and you got to stop sometime. Although I love fighting, although I love competing and I love the sport, I think that it's always better to kind of go out on top and to go out with some good stuff going. So I'm for sure going to be back in the ring. I'm for sure going to be fighting again. Definitely going to kind of want to make this one up for myself, but also I'm going to be looking to wrap up fairly soon and start moving my career into a lot more of a coaching aspect. I'm lucky to have the ability to coach well. I've seen and heard from a lot of people in the industry that this new method that I'm using to coach is something that's at least captivating. It's grabbing people's attention. It's something that it's easy to relate to, and they're really starting to dig it. The more they hear about it, it's very enthralling to them. So even people at a high level that have a lot of high level techniques and a lot of high level skills, this new tactical approach and the goal of rapidly increasing and integrating the skill that you have naturally is something that's very new to everybody. And um, people are doing a lot of studies on eyes and brains and all this kind of stuff. So we're just really tapping into that type of psychology, physiology, the connective neurology, how you're getting your body and your brain to kind of work together in synergy and be firing on all cylinders very smoothly, very functionally. That's kind of like the new wave I'm trying to get on.
That's awesome. I look forward to seeing it. I mean, I
Thank
wasn't
you.
able to go
Thank
to
you.
your last seminar, but I look forward to the next one.
Well, we are doing another one. Going to announce the dates this week coming up. I'm going to do one for beginners. It's going to be very much based on pre-fight mindset strategy, kind of working some of the core skill beginner tactics. We're going to be doing it at Sean Graham's the beginning of March. So we're going to start kind of pushing the advertisement on that soon. And then I've got some connections with some other gyms that we've been in the talks about putting some dates together for some other stuff around New England. So that's going to be happening pretty soon.
Awesome. Is there anything else that you would like to share before we conclude?
Hi. Just really appreciate everybody that's been reaching out. I appreciate you reaching out to me. I am so grateful for everybody in this gym. I am grateful that I've been able to create some place for so many people to find friends and find a sense of community. And it's been really impactful for me to see all the outreach on how many impacts I've had on other people's lives, and that the fighting part of this is a very small margin of what people are actually doing in here. And I am just humbled and so grateful to have so many people in my life that were kind enough to reach out and share that with me.
Mm-hmm.
And it definitely put things in perspective and kind of relit a fire in my belly to get back out and to get back on the horse as soon as possible and really make a good bang at the last end of my career and put things in order to be able to move forward and to be able to start building up some of these young people that are in the gym. So my young and upcoming fighters are really doing a lot of big stuff, making some big splashes, and it's going to be a testament to the way that they train, how disciplined they are, the culture that we created in the gym. And I'm really excited to start showing them off and start being as recognized and as liked in my ability to coach as I have done in my fighting career.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate
Thank
it.
you. I appreciate you coming out.